Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Franchising 360 show. I am Tim Parmeter, and with me, as always, is Danielle Wright.
Hello.
Every Friday night here on the show, we're going to take a 360-degree look at the franchising industry. Franchising is typically not at all what people think it is, and we're going to educate you on things like, should you own a franchise? And if so, how do you know which is the best one for you? Once you are a franchise owner, we're going to talk about strategies to help grow and succeed. And we can even show you how to take your existing business and turn it into a national or even international franchise brand. Now, Danielle here has been in the industry for over 15 years, primarily on the franchisor side, as a director of development all the way up to chief development officer. And now she consults for numerous brands on how to effectively grow. I am the founder and CEO of FranCoach and have been doing this for over 10 years. Our team at FranCoach works with individuals who want to become a franchise owner. Our job is to help determine what they're looking for in a franchise and match them with the best one for them to own. The consistent thing that we always do and kind of focus on is properly educating people on the franchise industry. And that is what we hope to do on this show. Tonight we're going to talk about kind of like some industries. There's so many of them out there, right?
Right. We talk about a lot of industries. We focus on a couple on the show, but I mean, there are a lot of them.
There are, and one in particular, like a really big one, kind of home service, but that can get narrowed down even more. We're going to talk about one of those tonight, right? Which one are we touching on?
I think you call them like what? Repair, replace,
enhance, maintain, and repair, right? And so that repair side of thing, which is always a fun, and I know you grew up kind of near and dear to your heart, even being around some things. But
my family's big into home service.
Yeah, and people always like repair because it's like stuff's always going to break.
Right. I think we classify it as a need-based business. I think you kind of go with those verticals, but I think it's a need, and that's what people gravitate towards. Like, oh, I can see that because I've needed it, or I've seen other people that need it. When we talk about like garage doors, like I have an affinity for that business model, but it breaks, it doesn't open. What are you doing? Calling a garage door guy because you need to be able to get in your house.
Yes, and you start need-based, and sometimes people, I believe, sometimes use this word based on fear, but there's the R word a little bit, right? It's the recession resistant type of things, but like, stuff's always going to break.
That's a positive from a need-based business, right? Like you're running through, hey, why should I own one of those? And I think there's a lot of things that we could talk about the home service segment.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we will. But we have this super fun new segment because you and I and our teams, we get emails from our clients all the time with some question, some smarter, some better, some fear-based, some not, or seeking to understand. But we have the fun new segment of Danielle's Email Emporium, where you're going to dig into your bag.
Seems so weird.
So we'll take suggestions on a new name. But,
totally. Send them to thefranchising360show.com. That's where we'll take suggestions.
Exactly. And the segment's still looking for a sponsor, so we could even do that.
Correct.
Too.
So you want me to dig in the bag of emails?
Dig in that bag.
So I think the purpose of this is like something that has come up in the past week or so from a candidate perspective or a franchise perspective. We've talked. You and I talk a lot about different things that occur. And one of the most recent pieces is do I really need to hire staff? Like, can I just do this myself? Is that an option? And I recently had that from the franchisor side, working with a brand, and the person's like, well, can I limit the amount of labor? Like, can I do this? Sure you can. But I think kind of to the point of having a franchise, like you don't want to be doing all of those pieces. So I think from that conversation, we were really trying to figure out how do we slim down our overall investment if I don't have to hire a lot of people and I can do all of these things. But that, I think for what you guys do on the coach side, you're wanting some freedom, some flexibility, some like, do you want to take on a full-time job? Then just go work somewhere. Don't own a franchise. So it was an interesting conversation to have with a candidate, because I think a lot of people think the same thing. Like, how do I get into a franchise and not spend as much money?
Right.
Maybe I'll take on these extra tasks.
Right. But it's one of the two places where I think owners at the beginning tend to make mistakes, is being cheap on labor or being cheap on marketing. Right? You don't spend on marketing, guess what? You don't have, like, customers. If you get cheap on labor on something you should be hiring, you're doing way more than you should be as an owner. And
I don't think the models are set up that way.
And there's are there some things out there where it really could be just you to start? There are some, but when people think of, like, oh, I'm going to own a fitness studio and I'm going to teach every single class and I'm going to do this and this, or like, no, right? Just no, that's not going to happen.
I think the premise behind franchising and why we started the 360 show from an education space is most of the people that you've placed or I've placed are looking for income replacement, right, or a quality of life component. I want to work that hard. I'm just going to keep my job and get my paycheck, and then I have my weekends free, right? Like there gives and takes in the ownership side. But these businesses are set up with people that have been down that path. That's why they've created a business that they could franchise. For any of those viewers that want to change your business to a franchise, be aware of that. Like, how can you roll that out with the owner not spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week in that business?
Right. And I think as we talk about after the break, the repair brands and some of the reasons why people might look at that, it is one, sometimes people go, oh, if I'm going to own a plumbing franchise, I have to be a plumber.
Yeah.
And can it happen? Yes, but it's typically not. But
thanks for letting me have the email.
Yeah, no, we
Emporium over here.
Danielle's email emporium is full of, emails.
Just little tidbits, little things, maybe smart, maybe not smart, but we're going to discuss them here.
Yes, in most cases, you hope your email's not one that is discussed.
Don't bring it.
We're going to talk a lot more about repair brands, the good, the bad, the ugly. That's more right here on the Franchising 360 show after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the Franchising 360 show. I'm Tim Parmeter. This lovely lady is Danielle Wright. And just so we know, we don't have people saying I'm sexually harassing you or anything, calling you a lovely wife. Lovely lady, you're my wife. I can do that.
I was wondering where you were going with that. I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about repairs. Like, you're repairing what you're saying. Okay, got it.
This lovely lady. Yes. So repair brands, and your email that we kind of came up where somebody's like, hey, do I have to hire people? Repair brands sometimes can happen, but it's also a little bit of that myth of all these different kind of repair niches in the repair world. Geez, do I have to be the one doing it? You've been on the franchisor side, worked with a bunch of different brands, certainly some in the repair standpoint. How much were you sitting there as the franchisor of a repair brand going, I need an owner that can absolutely do the work?
All the time.
You wanted them to be able to do the repair work?
So here's the irony, right? Yeah, if I didn't want them to, they always wanted to, because in a headspace of a potential owner, I want to know how to do it. Doesn't mean I want to do it all the time. Right. I'd like to know how to do it.
So maybe they have some fascination in
correct
the work, right? But they're not spending their day doing it all day.
No, but on the franchisor side, you got to think of it. It's probably a little bit easier for us if they know how to do it, especially in a repair business. It's a technical skill. It's something they've probably learned. What the flip of that is they're going to do it their way and not necessarily always do it the way the franchise would like you to do it. There are brand standards and all of those pieces. But the reality is if I've got a guy that's done window washing their entire lives, like, sure, let's be a window washer. But the goal is for us to help you elevate up out of the doer position into the owner position. And so if you're following a franchise model, that's what that would be. I think in your background and experience, how's that different?
Yeah, no, I think there are times people have some level of experience or, hey, I used to do this, but like you said, the technical aspect, they may not know how to, do electrical work or plumbing or necessarily be a fixer, but they understand the importance of it. Or like I've had some people like, hey, I like to tinker, I like to kind of maybe fix some things around the house. I don't want to be doing electrical work.
But I like the balance, right? Because if you know how to do it, then you probably know how to coach, maintain, make sure that other people that are working with you, not for you. And if you can get into the grime with them, that holds a little bit more validity as an owner. Like if I'm okay putting my gloves on and going tweaking some electric pieces, then we're good. But on the repair side, when you think, let's talk appliances, like you're going to know how to do that. And maybe you need to teach someone how to do that. Maybe there's some tricks of the trade per se that you can do that you wouldn't know if you hadn't done that. So there's a value to having that. But I think from a coach perspective, from what Friend Coach does, we're trying to help you find things that maybe don't do that. But the franchisor is not going to tell you no. In some aspects, I kind of like that guy because it might be a little bit easier to get him rolled into his own business.
Right. And you're talking about somebody maybe already has that business, being able to convert that, right?
Or even just being that skill set. Maybe you are the doer of someone else's business.
Right.
And now you want to own your own, and this is how you do that.
Yeah. And that there's that kind of phrase sometimes that comes out like, oh, a franchise is like buying a job, like it's a negative. Can be. Right. But sometimes that's a positive for people. It's exactly
that's maybe what some people want, right? Like I want to be busy. We talk all the time, like what's retirement for us? Like we're probably not going to ever really retire. Right. The difference is instead of working 40, 50, 60 hours on something, we're going to probably work 20 hours on something. But I think for a lot of people that have that skill set that may be in this home service category and the repair vertical itself, like I'm not going to not want to do that. Like I like my skill set and I like doing it. Maybe I just don't want to do it all of the time. Right. And that's where I really want to be.
I think just having that, at least at the very minimum, you can relate to it. You can have an understanding of it, right?
And teach others,
right? Kind of see that need. And you mentioned the teach others, like also the franchise isn't relying on them to do like teach every aspect. Again, it's kind of teach within the framework of the franchise and with their support.
And the franchise is trying to teach you how to run a business, right? Like they should understand the technical skill behind it, but they're teaching you how to run a business, and that's a definite different skill set for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to come back.
We're missing the mark on like repair. Like what the heck is repair?
Well, which I want to come back to that and a couple of traits that tend to come up for people that do gravitate towards repair.
Yeah, because I'm sure you ask those questions a lot.
All the time, and kind of the staffing model as well. So we're gonna hit up more a little bit about the repair niche in franchising right after this on the Franchising 360 show. Hey, we are back on the Franchising 360 show, talking tonight about one of the many, many niches and industries out there, but this is kind of focused on home service and repair. And Danielle, you were kind of even asking right before we went to the break, like almost like some examples of things.
Yeah,
right?
and you went home service, but when I think repair, like you have to fix cars and you have to fix things that break. So what are the things that break and around? And I'm like, my screen broke. What else broke? My garage broke. Let's talk about tech. Like the whole connecting your garage door, like up thing with your phone and all that's broken.
Right.
And I'm not getting that fixed.
And I think there's within there one easy division. Sometimes I look at it and go, is it emergency or is it non-emergency?
Whoa. Okay. So here we are. Sorry, I keep hitting my wrist. But like the reality is that's a lot. Like it is. And how do you?
These are things
I would never think of these things.
This is why we have Fran Coach, Danielle.
Okay.
But
do we have to get that granular in the process?
Sometimes it can be the difference between a franchise that's, let's say, remediation, right?
Okay.
They're going to do smoke,
which is what?
Smoke, fire, water.
Okay.
Like all of a sudden the house floods or whatever, right?
Okay. Because if I didn't know remediation, I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
Those are things that sometimes as a business owner, your business is going to be needed at 2 a.m.
Okay.
Right.
But isn't that's the emergency side?
Correct.
Of the
right.
Okay. Lord, people, you're catching this. You're better than me.
Those type of things. Whereas there may be something, hey, my washing machine isn't working. Is that an emergency that I need that right this second?
Well, if you have 7 kids and a husband and 2 dogs and a cat, yeah, it's an emergency.
Okay. Well, you could also go to a laundromat, which also there are franchises for that also, right?
You're killing me, kid.
But there are different things where like some people, when you talk about that work-life balance or life-work balance, maybe it's like, I know you're not calling me at 2 a.m, but I don't even want my business responsible for that. I like to fix it, but I like it like cars. Right. Or this, some sort of tech related thing. And I'm not calling you at 2 a.m. for those things typically. right?
No, well, if your car is broken down, we could go on a tangent. So I'll let you right. It's broken down. You're calling the tow guy. You're probably saying I have to take it this place, that place, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I got it.
The person the tow person might get you at 2 a.m, but they're fixing your car.
But the mechanic's not opening his shop until 7:30.
Correct, right?
And then you better be bringing him a really big coffee.
Yes. And so there's one little kind of trait with owners, I think, for repair is you kind of have to want to be the hero in the story.
Explain, boss. Explain.
I'm glad you asked that. So
hero, do I get a cape?
You may, on some of them, you may get a cape.
I want a cape.
So wait, if there's a cape involved, then we own a franchise?
No.
Okay. So something goes wrong for you. It's broken. You need me. I'm coming I'm riding on the white horse to get everything fixed and to rescue you and get it back to normal.
Okay.
Right. To come mow your lawn every week I'm not really much of a hero.
Sure you are. It means I don't have to do it.
Right. But it's a slightly different, some
I don't
people
have to annoy you to do it. How about that?
Some people like being that, I want my business to be the go-to. You need something, we're there for you.
Okay. Right? So that's repair.
That can definitely be part of
with emergency. What else is part of repair?
And I think that's when you get into the things that we need it fixed, but we don't need it fixed immediately. We talked about with the car, maybe something appliance related. And again, it may feel
the screen on my back porch, the tile on my roof is missing, all of those things.
Right. The roof's missing. That's an emergency.
But if a tile's missing, is it an emergency?
If some parts of it aren't, then that's a different story.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that comes from. And
why is this important?
Why is this important?
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
What's if we're here to educate, why is this important?
So the most important thing from a franchise owner standpoint, when we've talked about sales, hey, follow the plan, put forth the effort.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's the fit, right?
Okay.
If you're sitting there going, hey, I can see this business that does nothing but clean up smoke, fire, water damage, stuff that's going to happen all the time, recession resistance, those type of things. You go, man, what a great business. And you see the money that's made. And then you're like, oh crap, I was really looking for something that was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Right. This ain't it.
Because that goes back to the fit part, right? Like finances and time and all of those pieces.
Right. So if you're I didn't want something that had those type of extended hours but
I like the vertical and the need.
Right. Then it may be something else.
Okay.
Right. So it's all about the fit, baby. And the money always follows it.
Does it?
Yes,
okay.
It does. Yes, it does. And we want to talk about a couple more things within the repair space when we come back. And then we've got some exciting guests to kind of promo for our next couple episodes as well.
Get ready to come back to the 360 show and learn a little more.
Exactly. So we'll be back on the Franchising 360 show right after this. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show. Danielle Wright.
Tim Parmeter.
We are talking about the kind of micro niche of repair and under home service. We always
service in general,
we always say home service.
We always say home service, but repair can fall into a lot of categories. Which is kind
of where we wanted to go with the customers, right? So it's really could be everything. Some things could be only B2B, only B2C. I'm guessing some can cross over.
Because we were talking about who's the ideal owner, right? What is, but I think something that franchises want to really hone in on is who's the end user, who's the consumer. All your marketing is going to be geared to them, the service, the customer, guest experience, all of those pieces. And so in the repairs, maintenance, whatever category, the majority of your consumers are likely, Joe Public.
Right.
If you don't like Joe Public, this may not be, no matter how much money it makes and no matter how much of a need business it is, it's that whole, what is it? Customers always right. So you may come in and with your cape and save the day, but you're still going to have to deal with that.
Right. And I think what that conversation is with the customer, is it a homeowner? Is it somebody commercial? Right. Some of those plumbing or electric is just
I think
goes
you could
wherever.
customer base, right? Like obviously the franchise is going to focus pretty much on a B to C relationship,
Right.
but you may take as a franchise owner a direction to say, hey, I'm going to have a few more B2B customers. Like I'm going to go down to the grocery store plaza and I'm going to like find that property manager and then make sure that I get all of that plumbing business or that electrical business or that air conditioning business. We forgot about air conditioning. How do we forget about air conditioning? No, that's a business. No, we're not going to own it.
Right. But it is. It's more. I think you're not going in necessarily to try to haggle or provide quotes. It's really almost kind of that customer service in most.
So there's a positive to it, right?
So if you like. Somebody may be like, oh, I'm not super great at sales. This isn't necessarily like a hard sell. It's building those relationships. Like you mentioned, property managers or realtors, great referral sources. If they can trust you to every time they call you that somebody needs something.
Right. And then you're not necessarily dealing with end consumer.
Right.
You know, you're not dealing with that. Like you're dealing with someone that you know, hey, I'm going to go in and prices, like you said, price isn't a barrier to entry. But then with the repair side, price is generally a barrier, not a barrier to entry. Like if I can't get my garage door open and I have to pull my car in there, or it's my front door, I don't even know where my front door key is.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of you are sitting there thinking the same thing. What's a front door key? We have a code.
I was going to say, we went for a walk with the dog. The door got locked and neither of us had our phones with the code on it.
Yeah.
Right. And
that was drama.
Thing with the AC years ago, where middle of summer in Arizona, my AC's out and you're calling like, fortunately they were fast because it was, hot. And they were there maybe 30 minutes. There was some little compressor thing. It was $800 later. Like I did not care. Here's the credit card.
You put it on the credit card and you pay it off whenever you pay it off because comfort is comfort.
Yes. And so to kind of give some examples, we've got really the next 2 weeks back to back. And as you talked about, some things are more consumer focused, more things are more business focused. We got one next week is in an industry. Oh my gosh, people don't even know this is a thing with this.
And it's not like a new franchise either. It's not what something like, ooh, this is new, hot, and up and coming, like AI, la la la. No, It's not. It's been around for a really long time.
Right. I think in fact, they were founded the year you were born.
Thanks for sharing that.
So
if you tune in, you'll be able to figure out that lovely date.
1993.
Sure.
So,
yep.
But we've got, again, super excited.
And this is a path for us on the 360 show, right? Like we're going to do this, and for our viewers, we're going to take on food and we're going to start attacking the industry side.
And really being able to take some of the things we've talked about from like following a plan, labor, marketing. It's one thing for just us jokers sitting here talking about it. Let's hear that straight from our franchisors. So really excited for
lots of guests coming in the handful of weeks. We may not get cut off yet.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
It'd be crazy. In the meantime, don't forget our YouTube channel, Fran Coach hid there, francoach.net. Also, if you want to look more about maybe turning your business into a franchise or becoming a franchise owner, we can help you. So until next week, she's Danielle Wright.
That's Tim Parmater.
Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show. We will see you next Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on BizTV.